Hello everyone, this is Veer from Ignite, and this is our How the Tech series where we talk about how stuff works in technology or how to do things in technology. And this is just really useful to understand a foundational knowledge. Our What the Tech series focuses on the exciting things that are possible with technology, but this How the Tech series is more about the practical aspects of how to do them. So let's get started. This time what we're going to do is focus on actually how to use Zoom a little bit more. Last time we talked about how to install Zoom, but I've had a few questions from that, so I thought I'd cover a few topics like how to host a meeting, how to join a meeting, how to send files in the chat, and just generally use the chat function, as well as some things like virtual backgrounds and some cool things like that. So hope you found it really useful, and let's move over to the computer. So let's first open Zoom. We've already gone through how to install it in the last video, so I'm not going to talk about that today. Let's just talk about actually how to use it. So obviously, firstly, I can click on Start on my computer and type in Zoom. And you see here it says Start Zoom, or you might have Zoom on your desktop over here as well. So click on that and you can see it open. So you can either use it without logging in, just by clicking on Join a Meeting, and that will allow you to enter a meeting ID like this, and then click on Join, and then you'll be able to join that meeting. As soon as you click Join, it will try and connect. You put in the password, and then it will join the meeting. The other thing that you can do is click sign in instead, and that gives you some more options really. So we're going to sign in. You saw the options there were also to sign in with Facebook or Google instead. But now we're presented with this screen, and this is kind of the main Zoom screen. When you open Zoom, if you're already logged in, you'll see this screen. You won't have to log in every time. And then you've got four options here immediately. You've got new meeting. So if you wanted to just start a meeting straight away, then you could. There you go, it's right here. We've got the ability to join a meeting. So click on join. And in fact, that just brings up the same screen we saw earlier with joining meetings. And you know, same thing, I can just type in a meeting ID and then my name and click on join. Obviously here, as you can see, there's these two options: do not connect to audio and turn off my video. I would suggest not to use the first one because you want to connect to audio to be able to hear other people. And turn off my video, you might want to turn off your video if you're joining a huge group call and you want some privacy. But generally, don't change these two, just leave them unticked. And then click on join, and again the same thing will happen, where it will either join straight away if there's no password, or if there is a password, then you can type that in and click on continue. So there's also the ability to schedule, which asks you for a few different things like your sort of the name of the meeting. So I can call this something like that. I might want to put start date. You click on there, and you click on any of the dates. Obviously, you can click on the arrows to go forward and back with the months and choose a date. The time, you know, you can either use the arrows to change the time, or you can also just change it manually by typing it in on your keyboard. The duration, now for most people using the free Zoom, you'll be limited to 40 minutes. I've got the pro version, so I can choose however long I want. In fact, even if you've got the free version, you can choose however long you want. But if there's more than three people in your call, then you will be limited to 40 minutes. You can set this to be a recurring meeting, which this is just determined by your calendar actually. Then with the meeting ID over here, generally you just keep it as it is. I wouldn't change the setting, but you can choose to use the personal meeting ID or just generate a random one that will also generate a random password as well. You'll see here that this option to require a meeting password, you can't actually change that, unfortunately, because Zoom has actually said it now that all meetings require a password, and that's quite a good security feature actually, because It's important to keep your meeting protected. There's been instances of people's meetings sort of been hacked or infiltrated by malicious users who just want to spread chaos. So always make sure that you have a password on your meeting. Here you've got the video over here. You can choose to turn them on or off. Again, most of these settings that you would probably just leave as they are, unless you're maybe running some sort of webinar or something that or somewhere where you want everyone to have a bit more privacy. You can choose for everyone to have their videos off when they come in. Then you also have the ability to choose the audio. Again, just leave this setting. And the calendar at the bottom, this just chooses which calendar opens when you click on the schedule button. There's also some advanced options here like enable waiting room. I have this enabled so that when I start a meeting, everyone doesn't just join in automatically. I have to go and admit them, and I'll show you how that works afterwards. But it's useful for, again, if you're doing some sort of webinars or something. Enable join before host. That just means that the person can join the meeting and the meeting can start before the host has joined. Mute participants upon entry. That can be useful again in the webinar scenario. Only authenticated users can join, so people will have to sign into Zoom to join. So again, this can help with security. The only people that are actually logged into Zoom can join. This option at the bottom of recording every meeting, again, I have the option of locally or in the cloud. In the cloud is only available for pro users, but you can record every meeting locally, which obviously I've got set up for these workshops and classes that I do. After this, I generally just click schedule, and what it will do is actually open my calendar online. Now, if you choose Google Calendar, it will open the Google Calendar software. What it will do is automatically create a calendar event in your diary, in your calendar online, with that details filled in there. So again, like you can see here, it's got the username, the ID and password. Over here, it's got the meeting details as well. And you can click on guests and invite someone, for example, if you wanted that. So we'll go back to here, and the last thing is share screen. So this might be useful if you're already in a meeting actually, and you wanted to share another computer screen. So if you're in a meeting on your iPad and you want to share your computer screen, or if you're in a meeting on your computer and you want to share your iPad screen, this can be very useful. It just means that you're not joining the meeting and it doesn't add the audio and the video. It's just sharing the screen. Let's just show you about joining a meeting. So I've got a meeting ID shared to me by someone, so I can click on join, and then I just type in the details of the meeting and then click on join. There you can see there is this meeting here. So I've joined the meeting and now we can see what's going on. This is the main screen, so let's just turn on the video, for example, so you can see this is what it looks like in a Zoom meeting. So you've got the options here for looking at each other. Obviously, you can see side by side, but also if you wanted to just have a look at one person at a time, you can see speaker view, which is this one here. So what this does is it will change if you're in a one-to-one meeting, it will change the view of what you're looking at to be just the other person. But if you're in a group meeting, then it will change kind of what's on the main screen based on the person that's talking. Let's just have a look right at the bottom of the screen now. If you look down there, you've got a few options all along this area over here. So if we have the mute button over here, this means that it's no longer going to be listening to me so the other person can't hear me. That's quite useful. And you click it again, and now the other person can hear me again. We've got the stop video button. So again, that's turn off the video, and then you turn it back on just by clicking on it. So you can see when it turns off, next to my name over here, it's got this little symbol, this little icon that looks like the microphone in red with a line across it, and that means that the person is muted. So as well as the stop video, same thing over here. You can see that the symbol has a red line across it, which tells you its video is off. So next to each one of these, there's a small arrow, and that gives you some more options. So you can click on the arrow, you can then choose a different microphone or a different speaker if you have another one. And this is quite useful as well. You can use this to test the speaker. So click on test speaker, and it's going to play a ringtone. So it plays a ringtone, and I click yes, I hear it. Now I speak for a little bit, and you can see at the bottom there's that line that was showing me how loud my voice was. Now, obviously, if you don't hear the tone and you don't see that line showing you how loud your voice is, then it means that there's a problem with your microphone, and you either need to replace it or change some settings in your computer. There's also some other options here, like switch to phone audio. So that means that you can actually call a Zoom meeting by dialing a certain number, and that will give you the ability to actually join a Zoom meeting on your phone rather than through a computer, if that works for you. And then there's also the option to leave computer audio. That just means that you won't be able to hear anyone else, no one else will be able to hear you again. And there's the audio settings over here. So this opens this, and again, you can use this to click on test speaker, test microphone, change the actual microphone or speaker that's being used. And there's a few other settings here, like mute my microphone when joining a meeting. You might want that option in the future, just in case. And this is quite a good one to know as well. Press and hold the space key to temporarily unmute yourself. So this is quite useful if you're in a group meeting and you want to be able to talk to everyone, but have your microphone muted and only talk when you want to temporarily unmute. Hold the space bar on your keyboard, and you'll be able to actually just temporarily unmute yourself. So let's have a look at the same thing for video. So click on that small button, and you've got options of choosing your camera. So if you've got another camera plugged in, then you'll be able to change that. And the other option is choose a virtual background. So a virtual background is the ability to actually have or replace whatever is behind you digitally with some sort of picture. So you can see that there's some options here that they provide to you on Zoom. There's sort of the default ones. There's even video ones that they do over here. But the good thing is being able to actually add your own background. So I've got this one here, for example, which is my business one. We've also played around with some fun ones as well, that sort of thing. So so these virtual backgrounds are very good, especially if you're working, or it could be quite fun too. Now let me just show you how to add a virtual background. Click on this plus button, click on add image, and then what you can do is just add whichever image. So let's just say, I've downloaded some pictures and I've got this one over here. There you go. I've just changed the image that's in my virtual background, or you can also add a video as well. Now, sometimes you can have problems with the virtual background. As you can see, where my t-shirt is here, there is this patch where the virtual background is coming through, and that's because the color of my t-shirt matches the color of the wall behind me, and that's how it kind of replaces the background. And also, this sofa is still sort of in front of the background, and that's again to do with the color. So you can actually change the color that the virtual background sees by clicking on this button over here just at the bottom. It says pick a color. So what it does is it then displays this sort of crosshair thing on the screen here, and you can use that and say, okay, I want this red sofa to be replaced. Obviously, my face is sort of brown, which has a lot of red in it as well, so it's replaced my face as well. You can get some funny things like this happening, but generally you want to use it to choose the color of kind of the wall behind you, and there you go. There's also an option here which says I have a green screen, and if you untick it, sometimes if you've got a different computer, then it might allow you to untick it, and then the green screen effect will be better. You won't have problems like this. But unfortunately, my computer, it says here, it doesn't meet the minimum requirements, so it's fine. And then you can obviously also rotate your video, which could be useful if for some reason your camera is sideways. And you can mirror the video too. So that just changes. This is kind of the natural view. Sorry, this is the natural view, and this is the original view. Most front-facing cameras will mirror the view, so you can see what other people see. So that's kind of the audio and the video settings. Now there's also some other settings at the bottom over here. And we've got some options like, so there's security, which just allows you to be able to add additional security to your meeting, or possibly just restrict what users can do. So you can lock the meeting, which means that other people can't join. You can enable or disable the waiting room from here. And then you can also restrict what people can do. So there's this option here where it says allow participants to. So if I click on share screen, now nobody else would be able to share the screen. And then there's the option here to remove participants as well if there's some sort of option. So it's some sort of issue, and you can, if there was, so right now, you don't see anything here on the side because I've joined with my own accounts. But if there was another participant joined here, then you'd see that there, and then you could remove that person. You've got participants here, which just shows you who is in the meeting. And what you can do, again, there's some options here. You can mute people individually, or you can actually mute everyone by going to the bottom and clicking mute or unmute. So now everyone gets muted. So there you go. Mute all current and new participants will be muted, and you can choose whether to allow participants to unmute themselves. Or you can say, okay, I want to mute everyone, but nobody can unmute themselves, which just means that there's a bit more clarity there. If you want to be the only person speaking or something like that. If you're doing a webinar, this can be quite useful. Then there's the option to invite people. So click on invite, and then from here you can copy the link, and then let's say you want to paste that somewhere else. You can then send that in a message. You can see there's the link there. Or if you click on copy invitation, then that will have the whole Zoom invitation with all the details and everything. And again, you can copy that and paste that, say, for example, into an email or into WhatsApp and send that over. Also, if you're hosting a meeting and it's automatically generated a password for you, you'll see that at the bottom over here where it says here meeting password Ignite T2020. So this can be a great way to be able to check that password if you don't know what it is. Then if you click on email, you can click on any one of these services over here, and it will automatically open an email in that service so that you can actually invite people by email, and it's just useful that it can automatically open that for you, as you'll see in a second. Yeah, there we go. So it will fill in all the details over here. Please join this meeting in progress, and it will send the emails out to everyone. Okay, there's the chat, which is always a useful function. So if I type something in, hello, here is a pin code 1, 2, 3, 4. There you go. So you can chat, send a message to someone, and the person on the other side will be able to see it on that there as well. And you can even send messages privately to certain people. So you click on this 2 over here where it says everyone, click on there, click on the other person's name, and just type in hello, this is only between us. And that's a private message, and it gives you all the details here of the fact that that's private, who is it sent to, and when you receive a message, I'll just show you that as well. Let me demonstrate. So this is what it looks like when you receive a message to everyone, and this is what you look like, what it looks like when you receive a private message. You can say it's from this person to me. Obviously, this might look a little bit confusing because it's all got my name. Again, I'm logged in with my own device as well as I'm demonstrating this to you. One function I almost forgot to mention was the ability to actually send files. So in this chat box, you can see just to the right hand side, there's the 3 dots over here, and you can have a few options here, like for example, save chat. If you wanted to save that, and if you have it on everyone, then you have the ability to actually send files as well. So click on file. You can choose where you want to save it from. Let's save my computer, and let's just say I want to send over that picture that we looked at earlier. There you go. So then that picture has been sent, and there's a tick there to show that it's been sent. And then on the other side, someone in the chat will see that you've sent a picture and be able to open that, for example. And if you get sent a picture as well, or sent a file, for example, what you'll see is similar to what you've got here, but underneath there will be a button that says download. And then you click on download and you save it somewhere on your computer, and then you'll be able to actually do more with it, for example. Yeah, so that's pretty much the chat. Now the next one along says share screen. This is definitely one of the most useful ones for me. So click on share screen over here, the green one, and then here you can see that there's a lot of different options. And what you might need to do is click on where it says screen, and you can see it's right now it's got that blue highlight there, and then you click on share, and what will happen now is that you can see that there's green box around my screen, and there's this toolbar at the top. So it's actually sharing my screen to the other devices. So let me just actually show you. You can see on my iPad, you can now see what's on my computer. So if I click on something on here, you can see it will update what's on the iPad, in fact. So, and actually that's a good thing to see as well, is that Zoom actually hides itself on your screen. So you can see that the green border is not on the iPad screen, for example. But let's say, for example, I open this folder, and you can see that it is actually showing that on my iPad screen too. So this can be quite useful if you want to show someone a document. Let's say, again, we'll go back to that picture. Okay, I want to show you this this document over here. Here's a picture. I'm showing you this, and we can talk through it and that sort of thing. You can see again that it's really great feature to be able to share screens, and as well as just sharing screens, you can also annotate. So I've got this annotate button at the top over here. I can choose different things to draw, and let's say, okay, I'm going to choose red color, and I'm going to draw a box around these things because I want to focus on them. Or maybe I want to draw an arrow to this file over here, and I want to say, okay, I want to move these things over here. Or let's say I want to spotlight on something, and again, that's just arrow. There you go. So spotlight, you can see what it does is my mouse is now sort of being highlighted wherever I do something. or there's this option of spotlighting with this arrow over here, and you say, okay, here's this file that we're trying to focus on. You also have different stamps, so I want to say, okay, this is correct, or this is, there's star this, whatever. You can type something in, so this is a message, this is a note, for example, and there you go. You can't actually go back and edit those things, so what you can do instead is use the eraser to just remove certain things that you've put on the screen. And you can actually just freehand draw as well. So you've got the ability to, draw with sort of just a line. That you can make drawings with your shapes. You can actually draw straight lines as well. You can draw, this sort of highlighted thing over here that's a bit transparent. So there are all sorts of options here. I just wanted to give you a quick sort of demonstration of the different options. You can undo things, you can redo things, and you can save them so that that's saved, and you can click clear all drawings, or so that we can choose to just get rid of everything. Obviously here as well there was the option of clear my drawings or clear viewer drawings, so you can choose what you want to clear. Let's close that annotation. And there's also this option here where it says pause share. So now let's say I close this and I open something else instead. You can see on the iPad screen nothing has changed actually. It's it stayed the same because I've paused the share, and as soon as I click on resume share, it will open that back up again. There we go. So now it's showing the same thing as on the screen. So you can see this ability to share the screen is very useful. Let's. You can also move this dock over here that's at the top. If it's in your way, say move it to the bottom, or just even move it to the side. It can be quite useful. And then, from here, unfortunately, this means that you only have this sort of floating window of video over here. You can choose to have it completely closed and you can just see who's talking. You can have it open as just one person, so the active speaker, or you can show thumbnail videos of everyone that's involved. So you can then resize this if you need it, or move it around, as you can see I'm doing. Okay, so let's click on stop share. All right, so that's share screen. There's this ability to record as well. So you click record, and I click then now it's going to start recording this meeting, and this is how I'm able to provide recordings to my clients after I've had sessions, and that's quite useful as well. As well as screen sharing, there's another feature that's available with screen sharing. So we click on screen share. You can see that actually if I click on screen, then I will be sharing my entire screen. If I click on another one over here, I can share another window. Let's say I open my file explorer, for example, and then I go to screen share. You can see that the file explorer is here, available to share only that file, only that screen, sorry. But the one that I want to discuss is this whiteboard over here, because it's really useful. Sometimes you're having a conversation and you just want to draw something out. If you're with someone, then you could do it on a notebook. But using this whiteboard feature, you can actually just do it straight on your computer. So click on whiteboard and click on share. And from here, it's really great what we can, this literally just opens a virtual whiteboard and I can just draw on this however I want to. So, let's say I want to draw a diagram that shows people how to do something, I can draw on here, or maybe, I want to write, etc. So all the same things as the annotation, or annotate on screen sharing. But the difference is this just gives you a white plain background to do it on, so that you can, it's like having a blank piece of paper to draw on, which is, you might want to demonstrate something to someone. So that's the kind of whiteboard feature of the screen share. If I stop the share now, and you can see every time I click on stop share, it will bring me back to the main Zoom window. So from here, if I click on share screen, you can see if I go to advanced, there's actually an option to share the portion of the screen, music or computer sound only, or content from a second camera. So obviously, portion of the screen just allows me to then choose, okay, how much of the screen do I want to share? So you can see there's this green box here now. So only whatever's inside the screen box will actually be shared. And you can resize this box as you want to. So, make it bigger, make it wider, make it taller or even shorter, for example, if you wanted to just share a very specific amount of information, and you can do that. And then again, let's go back to stop share. You can share music or computer sound. So I'm not going to demonstrate this because you wouldn't be able to hear anything. But if I wanted to, let's say, do a group meditation, which I've done before, then I could play the music on YouTube and share it using this music or computer sound only option. And then the last one is content from second camera. So I've seen people doing workshops where they've actually got a whiteboard on the, sort of on the right of them or something, and they've got a second camera which is pointed at the whiteboard. So while they're doing the workshop, they'll switch to the second camera, or by using this share option, and then they'll be in front of the whiteboard writing on the whiteboard. So that's an alternative option from obviously using the whiteboard that's built into Zoom. But you may have a different reason for sharing content from a second camera, whatever it may be. And then if you're going to share a video clip, then you can use this optimize screen sharing for video clip option, and also share computer sound. So obviously this share computer sound and optimize screen sharing for video clip options at the bottom here are available no matter what you're sharing. You can always share computer sound even if you're just sharing one window, and you can optimize your screen sharing for video clip. Just means that the way that it shares the screen sharing is going to basically be the best for actually watching a video rather than what you would have sort of just showing your computer screen. And you can also share files on here. So this is just an alternative way of being able to send files in the chat, but obviously this doesn't have the option of using your files from your computer. This is specifically, let's say I want to share something from my OneDrive or Dropbox, sorry, click on Dropbox, click share, and then it will open my Dropbox in Google Chrome or Firefox, whatever I'm using. And from here, once it loads, I can then choose which file I want to share. I'll obviously have to authenticate that. So yeah, you click sign into Dropbox, you put your details, and then it will let you do that. So that's pretty much all of the stuff around screen sharing. I just wanted to address one other thing that some people have asked me as well, actually, is kind of what it looks like when I'm joining a meeting. So a few people have had the situation where they're joining a meeting with me, but they get the message saying that they are in the waiting room. So let me just show that right now. So I'm going to make the iPad the host of this meeting by clicking on the three dots on the iPad and clicking on make host. So now if I leave the meeting, then it won't end the entire meeting because I'm not the host. Let's just have a look now at what happens when I try and join. So join a meeting, 786. Put the password in there. Join with video. That's what you need to do, or you can join without video. Also on that screen. In fact, let's just go back to that screen for a second. So you've got a few options here. Remember my name for future recordings. Yeah, that's usually useful. Do not connect to audio. Turn off my video. You can choose whether to do these things or not. Obviously, that means that you won't be able to hear other people and you won't be able to speak. But for example, with my iPad, I've done it that way so that the sound is not coming back through. And with the option of turning off my video, maybe you want some privacy, so you can do that. enter the password again, click join meeting. And then here again, it says here, always show video preview dialog when joining a meeting. So I usually keep that on, and that's simply for the fact to make sure that my camera is working fine. So if there's a problem with my camera, it will tell me that it's not able to find the video, which obviously means I need to sort of do something about that. So I keep that ticked, and then you can click on join with video or join without video. Like I said earlier, you might want to join without video for any reason. Maybe you're not ready yet to be on the meeting, but you want to have the meeting ready for you. So let's click on join with video. Okay, so this is what I was talking about here, where it says Veer Hari's personal meeting room. And it's basically the waiting room for this this meeting. And as the host, I need to admit the other device. So on the iPad, I click admit, and then it will connect me to this meeting. And then what I'll do is I'll do a demonstration of that on the other phone actually, so you can see what it's like when I have to admit some device. So on the phone, I'm going to just leave the meeting there, okay? And then I'm going to join the meeting again on the phone. Okay, so you can see in a second. So right now, what should happen is that in a second I'll see the other device come up in the participants. Now, what I did earlier was I made the iPad the host, so it's actually coming up on the iPad, and I need to make this computer the host again, and then I'll see it over here. So you can also have co-hosts, so any of those co-hosts can let someone enter a meeting, but let's say, okay, I've just there you go, you can see that message where it says you are the host now in the top right there. So now if I join the meeting again from the phone, there we go. So you can see now it says one person is waiting, and if I put my mouse on there, you can see the admit button or remove. If you don't recognize who it is and you don't think they should be there, you obviously click remove, but I click admit, and there we go. You know, the Samsung Galaxy S9 phone is now part of the meeting as well. The last thing really that I want to cover is this breakout room. So breakout rooms is something that you may have experienced, maybe if you're on a workshop and they've split you up into groups. It's just that idea of being split up into different groups, different rooms almost, so that you can maybe mingle together with a few people and then come back to the whole room, or have a discussion about something and come back to the whole room. So you need to actually enable this in the settings on Zoom, and we'll have a look at the settings in a sec. But click on Breakout Rooms. It says here, assign participants into one rooms automatically or manually. So let's say automatically. Right now, we've got this dialog box that says Breakout Rooms not started. Breakout Room 1 is going to have the other two participants in there. And I can have all of these options around breakout rooms. So move all participants into breakout rooms automatically, allow participants to return to the main session. They'll close after 30 minutes, and there's a countdown timer. So obviously you can also choose to add another room and say, okay, I want, this person to move to the second room. You just saw what I did there. So click on that thing and you can see move to or exchange. So if I click move to, obviously it'll change with the to breakout room 2. If I click exchange, then I can exchange it with another person and they swap which room they're in. And then maybe I want to click on open all rooms. So now what will have happened is that the iPad and the phone will have a message on there that says the host is inviting you to join breakout room 1 do you want to join or later? So what I'll do is I'll make the iPad the host again and add this computer in to show you what it looks like on here when you're receiving a breakout room invitation. But for now, let's just see. So on the iPad, I've joined the breakout room. So you can see that the iPad has now left this meeting and it's now in a breakout room just by itself. Yeah, and so there you go. Breakout room 1, you can see at the top there. So then I can say, okay, close all rooms, and then it gets a message that says this breakout room, you can't see it very well on here, but it says this breakout room is closing in 50 seconds, 49 seconds, has a countdown. And in fact, that message is over here in yellow as well. I hope you really enjoyed that video of our How the Tech series. Again, last week was how to install Zoom. This time it was all about how to use Zoom. So I hope that gets a really good understanding of that whole Zoom experience. And we've got some really cool things coming up, like TeamViewer, how the internet works, how the cloud works. So watch this space. And also please leave a like and a comment just to tell us exactly what other videos you'd like us to make about how things work or how to do things, and I'd be absolutely happy to make those videos. So I hope everyone is safe and staying connected right now. Take care. See you next time.